What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Paul. This is the Leeds Therapy. Thank you as ever for stopping by. I really do appreciate it, and I hope you're doing well. Real quickly, I've mentioned it a couple of times, but I can't point in the right direction here. But again, here, Race for Life, my niece is doing a charity run. She's doing a little 5K, 10K run. If you haven't done so already, thank you to everybody that has, though. But if you haven't done so already, if you could, either scan the QR code, and if you can give any little amount would be greatly appreciated, but I'll also put the details to it down the bottom as well for that. So again, thank you for your support in that one. It's really appreciated. So a little bit of news that's coming out today, and I want to make also a couple of clarifications which I'll get into when I get to them, but I feel like it's needed just so I can explain my position a little bit further on certain things. But the first thing is that the club announced yesterday evening that the Chief Business Officer, Morrie Eisenberg, will be leaving the club this summer to take up a role of Chief Executive Officer at San Diego Wave FC. So leaving Leeds United and moving across back over to America. He joined Leeds in October 2023. He's played an instrumental role at the club, including the well-documented stadium redevelopment, from outlining initial ambitions in September 2024 to gaining full planning permission for the project in January 2026. Alongside this, he's also led the club's commercial revenue and business operations with record results. So he kind of came in and, from a commercial aspect, sort of re-steadied the ship and just moved things along a little bit, particularly with the stadium redevelopment, as it said, but also as well from a commercial revenue point of view. We've done record results recently, and he has been instrumental in moving that forwards. The club go on to say that Managing Director Robbie Evans has said that while I'm disappointed to see Morrie leave, I'm grateful for his effort and impact over the last 3 years. Much as with players, when you employ excellent people who produce excellent results, sometimes the unfortunate effect is that they will attract interest elsewhere. So that kind of suggests to me that he's possibly being headhunted. Robbie goes on to say that Morrie and I first met 3 years ago in discussing if we should leave our old lives behind and try and help Leeds United return to its rightful place in English football. 3 seasons later, he leaves the club on an excellent trajectory, and I hope Morrie is especially proud of his tireless work on the stadium expansion, which will benefit the club supporters and the community for generations to come. Morrie and his wonderful family depart with the best wishes of the club. He is welcome anytime if he tires of California sunshine and misses the Yorkshire weather. Well, if the last few days has been anything to go by, it's been simply glorious weather in Yorkshire. Eisenberg added, it has been a privilege to work at Leeds United for the past 3 seasons. In that time, we have made so many positive strides towards our ambition of becoming an established Premier League side, with so many terrific memories created together over that time. The club has amazing people behind the scenes. I would like to thank them, as well as people of Yorkshire, for making me feel so welcome. Thanks also to the incredible fans of Leeds United around the world, as well as the club ownership, for this opportunity. I'll always remain a proud member of the Leeds United family, and I wish the club every success in the future looking forwards. Morrie will officially leave his role in August, and everyone at Leeds United would like to wish him and his family the very best for the future. Now, I can't see, or I haven't seen, any information about who is going to be coming in to take over his role and who the club are looking to put in there. It would suggest that we are now, end of May, so June, July, August. There's going to be a 3-month period where I would probably say that will actually happen and that will take place. I don't think it's anything to worry about too much. It's a standard practice. It's a standard thing that happens. People, as it says in the statement, when they're clearly good at their jobs, people will look to headhunt them. People will look to move them on to try and replicate that kind of success elsewhere. And good luck to him. He's done a very, very good job at Leeds United, as far as I can see, as far as I can tell from what he's brought to the table, and just particularly with the stadium redevelopment, and also from the commercial aspect, which is really, really important for us, which has led us to record revenue and turnover figures over the last sort of 2 years in particular. So fair play to him. He goes off with thanks. I would suggest would be a sensible thing to say. And we just have to wait on the news of whoever could be potentially coming in to take over that place. Now, the bit of the video where I feel like I need to give a little bit of clarification on a couple of points that I've made. And this is kind of the danger element sometimes of when you put your head above the parapet to make a comment, or you put something, a shortened version of a video down to sit into a short form content role on TikTok and all of that kind of stuff. But first things first, I'm going to talk about this because it's Sunderland, and the Sunderland fans have reacted a little bit annoyed at the suggestion that I've made with regards to the European football side of things. Now, again, I need to clarify this, and hopefully if they watch this either on short form content or just as the video as a whole, the fact that Sunderland have gotten into Europe in their first season back in the Premier League is something that should be celebrated. It is a fantastic achievement. I make no bones about that. There's no sour grapes from me. There's no copium from me. As somebody, a fan of a club that's also been promoted this season, it's great to see two clubs doing so well in the Premier League and establishing themselves and looking like proper Premier League clubs from the off, which is a fantastic achievement. And again, more power to Sunderland. It's absolutely incredible that that's what they've managed to achieve this season. Now, the point that I was simply making is that there is potential for them to have issues moving forwards when it comes to squad rebuilding, particularly for a European assault. By the way, we've got 9 English teams, or nine English Premier League teams in Europe next season, which is a phenomenal achievement just because of the way that everything's run. And also as well, congratulations to Crystal Palace for winning the Europa League. So that's a really, really good achievement. Glasner is now going to be leaving with having stewarded the most successful period in Crystal Palace's history, so fair play. But the point that I was simply trying to make with the Sunderland thing and the European thing is, because of the new SCR model, and particularly the European SCR model, it's a much more strict and stringent form of financial checking in terms of the way that you do things in Europe. So, from a point of view of Sunderland, to do with their turnover and their revenue, somewhere in the regions, if you looking at financial suggestions and proposals of around about somewhere between 130 and 198 million in terms of turnover, and that's including the money that they get for the position that they finished in the league as well. So they potentially have somewhere between 91 million and I think it's about 131 million that they might, again, potentially, so hear what I'm saying, potentially be able to spend on players for next season. Now, what I will say is, this is what I said previously, you're looking at potentially building a team for the Premier League, but also Europe as well. And that can have a detrimental effect on one or the other. And listen, I got called out for it in the comments, and they said, if you'd have gotten into Europe, you'd actually be loving it. Of course I'd be loving it, but from a financial point of view, I know that Leeds United aren't ready for it yet from a financial point of view, even though our turnover for 2025-2026 is projected to be 260 plus million, depending on which financial expert that you actually listen to, because of worldwide TV gates, because of the Sky money, because of just a broadcasting cut and revenue, all of that good stuff. From a financial point of view, we're still not ready to go into Europe. Now, I'm not saying that this is going to be disastrous for Sunderland. What I'm simply doing is highlighting a potential point. And again, it isn't sour grapes. It isn't me going, I'm really, really jealous of the fact that Sunderland have got into Europe. Again, it's a fantastic thing. What I'm pointing out is, from a financial point of view, it could be difficult for them, potentially. That's it. Not me having a go at Sunderland or anything, which apparently that's what I was trying to do. But it wasn't, so I wanted to longer form that just to clarify where I stand with that. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, the next thing that I wanted to just clarify again, and this is to do with the little picture that I put up of Brendan Aronson and the fact that he had, from a point of view of high-intensity pressures, he is the leading player in the Premier League for high-intensity pressures with 1,931. You've got Thiago on there, you've got Elliot Anderson on there, one of my favourite players in the Premier League. Dominic Calvert-Lewin's also on there as well, and Enzo Lafia on there in terms of the top 5 that are in there. Now, it's a bit of engagement farming. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it wasn't, but I turned around and I said, this won't fit some people's agenda. And what it kind of fell into, or it showed to me, is that there's people don't quite grasp the difference between what a high intensity pressure is and what running around is. They are two completely different things, because one of the things that everybody said, like one person made a comment saying that my dog can run around, so does that make my dog a really good player? Because it's just that Aronson is bullshit narrative that a lot of people go on. Now, does Aronson make the best decisions when he's on the ball? No. We all know that. That's what happens with him sometimes. He is a bit of a headless chicken when he's in possession. Now, the difference being, when you're conducting a high-intensity pressure, you aren't in possession of the ball. What you're trying to do is pressurise the opposition team who are in possession of the ball to either make a mistake or to allow your team time to regroup and reset themselves for the next phase of action. That's what a high-intensity pressure is. And it would appear that people are mixing the two up. There is a stark difference between the two. If it was to do with running around, it would be distance-covered stats. And we all like distance-covered stats. We look at them occasionally. This isn't about dribbling with the ball. This isn't about decision-making once you've got possession of the ball. This is about putting pressure on a player to either hold them in a position or to force them to make a mistake. And that's the point that I'm trying to make in terms of the difference between the two. I've had people trying to tell me that it's, you can run around, and that isn't how I see what a high intensity pressure is. And it's how I've asked a couple of other people, and they agree with what I'm saying. There's a massive difference between the two in terms of running around with the ball, without the ball, or actually putting pressure on. We all know how much of a pest Aronson is. We all know how much he can just cause a bit of a mess and pressure and just do things to cause slight differences. That's what I was simply saying. And I've gotten cooked, which is fine. Listen, at the end of the day, if people want to disagree with me, that's absolutely fine. But don't conflate the two. They are two completely separate things. Running with the ball and decision-making whilst running with the ball is completely different to what a high-intensity pressure is. That's the difference. You are trying to force your opposition to make a mistake whilst you have the ball. You're running around and doing something, trying to do something. And we know that he has a tendency to run around like a headless chicken. We know his decision-making sometimes isn't good. Sometimes he does one too many step-overs, or he's running too much with the ball. That's fine. Sometimes I feel like people's agenda towards Aronson clouds sometimes what some of his achievements actually are. And in terms of that high intensity pressure thing, that is something that I've always said is a really, really good attribute that Aronson has, particularly for me. Where he's better served is coming on later in games and doing those high intensity pressures, because it's a point where people are knackered. It's easier to force people to make a mistake, etc., so on and so forth. Again, people can disagree with me. That's absolutely fine. That's, I'm always open to have a discussion with people. I'm always open to friendly debate. The best one was that I got told that I was sucking his cock. Or no, sorry, not sucking his cock. I was sucking him off. And that I should get my tongue out of his arsehole. I asked if they could explain and show they're working how me saying that a positive attribute at his is akin to me sucking him off. Still waiting for the response for that, which is absolutely fine. But like I said, we can disagree, we can agree. That's fine. That's football. That's how it works. But in terms of those two particular things, it isn't a running stat. It's a stat about being in the face of an opposition player. It's a stat about trying to force the opposition players to make mistakes. It's a stat about trying to force the opposition player to take that one extra touch or to try and move further a little bit forward and to cause problems with them being able to do that, or to just hold up an attack to allow your team to reset. That's what I see high pressure as. Shoot me if I'm completely wrong, but that's the way that I see it anyways. Just wanted to give those little bit of clarifications. Hope you've enjoyed the video. If you have, please don't forget to like it for me. Make sure you're subscribed. Make sure your notifications are turned on. If you're listening to the audio version of this, please also like the audio for me. That would be greatly appreciated. Like I said, people can disagree with me on that. That's fine. And we can have a proper discussion about it. I've got no issues with that whatsoever at all. It's part and parcel of doing what I do and talking about football. Take care of each other. Most importantly, take care of yourself. I will speak to you soon. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.